lights blink red on the cosmic map. A captain's log etched in the gap of stars that burn like whispers. Hold a galaxy of stories bold. Hyperdrive hums, the void replies. Questions bloom where silence lies. Ur-Quan calling, the masters reign. Chains of power, stars in pain. Captain's journey, fate unknown through the stars. Ancient relics in the dust of time, close to peace and chaos rhyme. Allies forged from worlds untamed, enemies with no name. Supergiant's breath, a deadly glow, nebulas that twist, that grow.
Okay, welcome everybody to, I guess this is another season of Star Trip, but this is a different show altogether. It is the Ur-Quan Masters. I'm your host, Frosty8536, and as you can see over here, we're playing a bit of a classic game this time, based on the 1992 game of Star Control 2. Now, this game is actually very special to me. It's one of my first PC games that I really invested myself into. As you can see, we are in the solar system. Now, Star Control 2, just to give you an idea before we actually begin with this game, Star Control 2 was it's basically almost like a role-playing type game where you get resources and all of that. Now, Star Control 2 back then had different graphics. This is the remastered version, open source. I want to point that out. It is open source. This remaster was created by people that enjoyed Star Control 2 so much that they decided they needed to do a remaster of it. So you'll see all the graphics are different. Maybe one day we can do a comparison between the two games to show you what it looks like. Another thing that they have also included as well, you'll see, or here in fact, would be the vocals, the voiceovers for these. Now that is why I'm doing a voiceover for this one, because I want to speak back. So I'm going to try and act out what I want to say as well. You'll see that as we are chatting to different races, you get different options, and that is where I want to go this. I want to act out those kind of things. So we started out, as you can see from the beginning, we started as naming ourselves. So I've named myself the captain of the ship, which is for us the A536, as you can see over there. And then the starship, we are calling it the Defiant. Now I had two different options for ship names, and they're based on basically Star Trek starships. This one, the Defiance, which is basically paying homage to the starship that was in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. The other option that I had was Voyager, which was the one that traveled to unknown spaces, but I think I'm going to leave that name for maybe a different space show. So over here we're going to try this out. So as you can see, we're starting off, and you'll probably notice that my ship is very slow at the moment, but you'll see as we progress onto the game that things will change. So we are going to visit planet Earth. So I'm just working out the controls. So we're going to go to navigate and let us make our move. Okay. Would be nice if we could. Okay, we're gonna just find out why. Settings. Okay. Captain, cyborg, sound, music, flagship, exit menu, manifest. Okay, we don't seem to be wanting to move. Why? Oh, why? Could it be that we need to go back? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to figure out why my arrow keys are not moving. Something tells me that if I push this... Okay, alright, so I'm going to have to go back. So I'm going to exit. I'm going to save the game where it is at the moment. Let's call it chapter 1, because that is what we are doing first. Chapter 1. Alright, and then I'm going to go back. So I'm going to cut this next part out to figure out what's happening with the controller, and then we'll go into it. Okay, so now we're back. We're just going to find out if that was the problem. Okay, so I can turn now. That's good. And I can push forward. Okay, so we figured it out. I actually put the keyboard keys on instead of the joystick. Oh, looks like we have a visitor.
Attention, interloper. Heed this recorded message. This drone vessel speaks with the voice and authority of Ur-Quan. You are trespassing within Ur-Quan space. This world, Earth, may not be approached for any reason. All your hostilities against our orbital platform be tolerated. In addition, your ship does not respond to standard hierarchy identification transmissions, and is therefore deemed to be independent. is not permissible. Only subservient slow be tolerated. This drone now leaves to inform the Ur-Quan of your transgressions. You are commanded to remain here and await the arrival of the Ur-Quan. Disobedience will be punished.
Okay, and that ship has just left. Okay, I've noticed something else now. I'm going to look at the sound. Okay, I hope you guys could hear what he was saying, because the volume on this is actually flipping loud. I don't know if I can change it. Music on, music off. Okay, it doesn't. Maybe I can't. Okay, so already we have a problem in the sense of it looks like our planet has been subjugated, which is really not cool, I think. Alright, if you can't hear the voiceovers over the sound, I think maybe in our next episode we can maybe sort that out. Alright, so at least read the subtitles for this episode. Maybe we can sort it out a little bit later. Alright, so full disclosure, I have played this game before, I've beaten it, but I'm going to act surprised and get into character now. Alright, exit menu. Okay, let's go figure out what's happening. Let's first go to planet Earth. Look how the space station rotates. Okay. Alright, there is our not as green and blue planet. Let's give it a scan. Auto scan. Looks like we can't dispatch anything. Okay. Looks like we're going to have to go to this space station and figure out what's happening.
Attention unidentified space vessel. I am Starbase Commander Hayes of the slave planet Earth. Our microwave contact extremely weak. Situation critical. Energy cores exhausted. Scanners and deep radar are non-functional. We cannot identify your vessel. Are you the scheduled hierarchy resupply ship? Repeat. Are you the resupply vessel?
No, this is the starship Defiance, but we stand ready to assist you.
What? Never mind, look. We won't last much longer. Here's our situation. According to our oath of fealty to the Ur-Quan, we must maintain a starbase, but we have no space vessels of our own. And the shield prevents us from contacting Earth, so we're totally dependent on the Ur-Quan supply vessels for everything we need up here. We know there's a hierarchy base on the surface of the world, but we can't contact them. The Ur-Quan were supposed to resupply the base at regular 5-year intervals, but we haven't received anything in almost 8 years. What we don't recycle, we can usually synthesize. But to do so, we need replacement radioactives for our generator energy cores. If you could bring us some radioactive elements, we can fabricate the cores ourselves. Are you willing to help us?
Where can we find the radioactive elements you need?
The fastest way to get radioactive in this system would be to land on Mercury and scour the surface for deposits of radioactive elements. But be careful. Mercury is a pretty inhospitable place. Watch out for earthquakes and those high temperature areas.
We will now leave to find the elements you require, Captain. Or whoever you are.
Make sure to visit us the next time I talk with our masters. I'm sure they will reward you.
Like hell they will. Alright, so let us go to Mercury. Okay, if you know your if you have a good general knowledge of the solar system, you will notice that Mercury is the first planet from the sun. So, and if you know it very well, you'll also notice that Mercury is not exactly very hospitable. So we need to be very careful. When we do go down, we need to make sure that we get what we need. So we need radioactive materials. Now the radioactive materials, if we've done an auto scan, I can see that the ones that we're looking for are the ones in orange. Okay, so we're going to dispatch. We need to try and get it as close to this as possible. Now, bear in mind that if we take a look at the stats of planet Mercury, you'll see that the atmosphere is a vacuum, so life forms would not really be on here. Surface temperature is 165 degrees Celsius, no weather. Tectonics, which is your earthquakes, is a class 3. So we have some temperature spikes, and we also will experience some earthquakes. So let's go in. Our lander needs to be careful that we don't. And let's get up. I think that's the only thing that we need. We can come back, but our primary task is to make sure that we can get some supplies to this starbase. So let's go. If this is the first time that you're seeing a game, Star Control, it's the first time that you want to like play it or anything like that, send a comment. Tell me, what do you think about it so far?
Did you find any radioactive elements for our power cores?
We are ready to transfer the radioactives.
Now, as soon as our engineers can refit the energy cores, that's much better. Power ratings are climbing. Life support is coming back into the green. Deep radar systems and sensors are now online, and I can scan your vessel. What the hell kind of ship is that? Just who are you, Captain?
I am Captain Frosty 8536 of the starship Defiance. We are the survivors of a Star Control science research team to the Vela star system.
Star Control science mission, huh? Captain, I served as a Star Control officer during the war aboard several cruisers in the Corward Front. And if there'd been any scientific mission to Vela, I would have heard about it.
The mission was highly secret.
You know, come to think of it, there were some rumors that Corridor 9, the Special Operations Division of Star Control, was directing some hush-hush operation near Androsynth Space. The Vela star system, yes, that would be the right direction. So, Captain, if you say it's true, how do you explain that huge alien starship you're flying? And why are you here? What do you want from us?
We have returned to Earth to give you the technological secrets of the precursors and to help you fight the hierarchy.
Fight the Ur-Quan. Win back our freedom. I remember having such thoughts myself once, long time ago. That was in the first years after the defeat, when it was still terrifying to look up and see the bloody glow of the pulsating slave shield overhead. Though day and night we gazed up at the impenetrable wall as though the sheer power of our hatred would pull it down. But over the years I spent so much of my time struggling, down on the surface, under the shield, and then later up here trying to keep the station alive, that I'd forgotten what it means to be free, to hate our Ur-Quan Masters. And now here you are, in an alien ship of unknown power, offering me your assistance to fight against the hierarchy again after all these years. Captain, your offer is intriguing. It's tempting to think that with your advanced precursor technology, we can somehow crack the Earth's slave shield and reassemble the Alliance to attack the hierarchy. And this time, win the damn war. Consider the consequences if you should fail. The Ur-Quan won't just punish us here on the station, they'll exact a gruesome retribution on the surface below as well. Before I commit this station to helping you attack the Ur-Quan and accepting the risk of annihilation if we are defeated, I have to make sure that you and your ship have what it takes to oppose the hierarchy. I'll make you a deal. If you can eliminate the alien base on the moon and get rid of that threat at least, I will seriously consider your offer.
What details can you give us about the base on the moon?
After the Ur-Quan erected the slave shield around the Earth and established this space station, they decided to leave a contingent of combat ships close to the Earth to keep watch on our planet and confirm that they were obeying the Ur-Quan slave laws. I'm certain they're still out there on the surface of the moon because we can pick up a constant stream of alien broadcasts.
We shall go now and neutralize the base.
Be careful, Captain. There are probably a dozen Spathi eluders and Ilrath Avengers down there on the lunar surface. I don't know why they haven't come after you yet, but when they do, you better have your weapons armed and your thrusters burning hot.
Alright, let's set a course for the moon. Okay. There we go. Alright, so here we go. I think we need to scan first. So let's do that. Alright, some minerals. Oh, and then it looks like there are some things on the ground. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this first. And then let's go kick some ass. Ooh. Our land is really not that impressive, guys. But it's fine. We'll work with it. I wish the D-pad was... I wish I could use the joystick on my D-pad, but hey, you get what you get. Okay. Let's deal with these guys first. Okay. Good, very good. Okay. We'll get to you in a minute. Hello. And then let's take out this thing. It looks like there's not much biological data. It looks like it's just a case of destroying these things. Okay, we're gonna come back for the rest of the materials. Okay, there we go. There we go. Like I said, we'll come back to that. I think we've just taken down its defenses, so whatever that is over there, at least it's sorted. Okay, didn't lose any lives. That's always good. Report from surface. We have discovered an alien base and have explored its interior. The installation must have been abandoned many years ago, but great care has been taken to make it functioning. Fusion generators are at full output, and robotic construction vehicles have been programmed to roam the lunar surface. Man, this font is terrible. Bulldozing moon dust into random piles. In addition, we have found the installation's hyperwave locked in transmit mode, endlessly playing the same alien recording. Although we cannot translate the message, our head tech ensign Rigby believes the message is some kind of alert or mayday broadcast. The base is filled with useful materials and equipment. We will scavenge as much as we can and bring it aboard immediately. Why, thank you. Okay. Alright, let's go back. Right. Ooh, okay, let's not go there. Oh, this ship is like a coffin.
Have you dealt with the base yet?
We found the base, but it was abandoned years ago.
I'll be darned. All these years we've been listening to their incoherent broadcast, and we never even guessed. Captain, listen closely. Long-range sensors show a ship closing on this station fast. Our computer identifies it as Ilrath, Avenger class. I think you've got a fight on your hands, Captain. Your best bet is to wait until you have point-blank range. Captain, it's jamming our signal.
By the fetid breath of the Dark Twin Kazon, a human and an alien starship. How fascinating. When I intercepted that Ur-Quan drone and learned that an unidentified starship had approached Earth, I never expected to find such a remarkable vehicle in the hands of a human. Humans are prey animals, weak and helpless. But here is a human in an armed starship, and therefore in direct violation of the oath of fealty. I am sure our masters, the Ur-Quan, will punish Earth most severely for this treachery when I present them with the twisted wreckage of your ship and your many charred corpses.
Ooh, some good options, I think. Where the hell did you come from?
I will gladly explain. We have spent many years gleefully preying on the Pakunk. They are a pitiful, easily killed species. And we would have continued in this divine worship of Dogar and Kazon, but we required additional crew members and repairs to our cloaking device. So we departed the Jiglass constellation and set course for home. But before we had reached our region of space, we detected the passage of a nearby vessel, the Ur-Quan drone. It informed us about you, so here we are. And now, you die.
Ooh, we are going into battle, guys. Okay, we're not going to take in our main ship. We are going to take in our Earth cruiser. Okay.
What a beautiful sight, Captain. I haven't seen an Avenger blown away like that since the battle in Draco. I guess you've shown that you can handle yourself in battle, Captain. So my last reservation about helping you has been dissolved. I will commit this station to helping free Earth and defeat the Ur-Quan. We may get our atoms rearranged in the process, but by God, Captain, we're going to try. So the obvious first step is to get the precursor equipment and software over here so that we can make it work with our ship repair fabricators. But then what, Captain?
Then, Commander, we will proceed to kick some major alien butt.
Yes, Captain. We'll do just that. By the way, Captain, I think we need a name for this new alliance we're going to forge. And since it was your idea, it's only fair that you get the honor of naming it. So, what will it be?
I think we need something that is nostalgic to what the Alliance were before. What do you think? How about the new Alliance of Free Stars?
Okay, that sounds pretty inspiring. So be it. The new Alliance of Free Stars. Now, Captain, I expect the configuration process for the starbase to take at least 2 weeks, so let's get to work. I have good news to report, Captain. We have successfully integrated the precursor technology from your ship into our fabricator system, and as you can see, we've already begun minor repairs on your ship, patching up some of the micrometeorite holes. We noticed that your ship does not have an emergency warp escape unit, so our engineers rigged up some for you and each of your escorts. Now, you should be able to escape from a bad situation with the touch of a button. But there is a cost, however. The unit gulps up 5 fuel units each time your precursor ship uses it. Also, we now have a limited capacity to make modifications to your ship, to refine starship fuel, to build additional combat ships, and to train new members of your crew for the flagship and any ships you acquire for your fleet. Captain, I know you're eager to get to work, so I'll be brief. If you have any questions how this starbase works, what resources we need, or just some background information on the galaxy, don't hesitate to ask.
I think I need to ask a few questions. I think let's start with the minerals.
The more minerals you bring us, Captain, the faster we'll be able to tackle the Ur-Quan.
Okay, before proceeding, I need some additional background information.
Certainly, Captain. What do you need to know?
Okay, firstly, would you elaborate on your facilities here at the starbase?
We can modify your precursor ship, build additional combat vessels, and supply you with fuel and crew.
What can you do to enhance and modify the Defiance?
Our engineers and precursor specialists agree with the scientists from your world that your starship was designed to be a workhorse vehicle, which can be easily reconfigured for different missions by adding or swapping self-contained equipment packs, which we call modules. The modules we can build right now are thruster units, which make your ship move faster, attitude jets, which allow you to rotate the ship more quickly, crew pods, which provide life support facilities for up to 50 additional crew members, storage bays, which increase your ship's cargo capacity for mineral resources, fuel tanks, which hold an additional 50 units of fuel, dynamos, which feed energy into your combat energy batteries, improving your weapon's rate of fire. And last but not least, ion bolt guns, combat weaponry, the exact function of which depends on its location aboard the ship. When put in the first or front module slot, it fires a single shot forward. When put in the second slot, it fires 2 shots, spread to the left and right of center. When put in the third slot, it fires 2 shots directly left and right. And when put in the last or rear slot, it fires a single shot straight backwards.
How will I get fuel for the Defiance?
This base is designed to service hierarchy ships. Fortunately, your flagship uses the same stabilized antimatter technology as hierarchy vessels and will be able to synthesize what you need. However, due to the size of your ship, we'll have to produce vast quantities of fuel, which will be a substantial drain on our resources.
How can I assemble a fleet of fighting ships?
Our shipyard facilities are sophisticated and fully automated, permitting a handful of starbase personnel to do the same job as 500 vac-suited construction workers. However, the only designs that we had in our computers were incomplete hierarchy ship designs. Things looked grim until one of the officers came forward with an amazing story. Even though the Ur-Quan destroyed every Earthling cruiser in the fleet nearly 20 years ago, one of my maintenance engineers was a Starship production assistant at the Detroit shipyard. When Earth was conquered, she was ordered to destroy all ship construction databases. But she secretly made copies of the blueprint discs and then kept them with her ever since. These discs contain all the data we need to build as many Earthling cruisers as you want, provided you, Captain, can supply the large amounts of mineral resources required to build those vessels. In theory, Captain, we could build alien starships here if we had designs for them. However, it's a well-known fact that alien vessels just can't be flown in combat without native starship captains at the helm.
How will we acquire additional personnel for my ship?
We have almost 2,000 highly motivated, skilled professionals aboard this starbase, and every single one of them wants a berth aboard your starship. However, each hand we lose to your ship means less manpower here at the starbase, and this is reflected in the crew RU cost. As long as you don't lose too many crew members to combat or planet exploration, the RU cost will remain static. But we have only so many warm bodies on this starbase, and if your needs for crew grow beyond a certain point, the cost could increase dramatically.
How would you please explain your resource allocation system?
As you know, Captain, we've committed the entire output of this station to building your flagship and your battle fleet into the strongest force possible. However, our resources are very limited, and we feel you must decide how we are to spend our effort and materials. To aid you in making these decisions, we have implemented a resource allocation scheme. We provide you with a numerical assessment of the station's resources and ascribe a cost to each task we can perform and each device we can build. It's up to you to decide how you're going to spend your resource units, or RU as we call them. To acquire more RU, you must bring resources back to the starbase. These resources can be either in the form of mineral ores gathered from planet surfaces or already refined metals and other valuable materials from the wreckage of enemy starships.
What kind of resources are most useful to our mission?
The most straightforward way you can accumulate resource units is to bring mineral ores back to this starbase. There are probably enough resources in just the nearby dozen stars to build your ship into a powerful battleship or to create a strong task force of combat vessels. I would also recommend that you build several additional storage bays. When gathering minerals, focus on cleaning out one star system at a time. This way you minimize the cost of travel through hyperspace.
What use are our planet Lander's sophisticated life form analysis features?
While I respect your search for abstract knowledge, frankly, Captain, in our present circumstances, I see little use for such data here. Perhaps you can make use of biological information elsewhere.
You have answered my questions on this topic.
What else can I tell you?
I would like some historical data.
What aspect of history, Captain?
I would like to know about the other starfaring races.
Which group of aliens?
The members of the Old Alliance. Let's start with that.
Okay. Which race?
The Shafixti.
The Shofixti are a race of intelligent marsupials who had been civilized for only a few decades when the war began. They were discovered in the Delta Gorno star system by the Yehat, who adopted and then uplifted the Shofixti, giving them advanced technology and cultural definition. Shofixti are noble and fearless warriors, Captain. In addition, their incredible fecundity and rapid maturation rate kept Alliance rank solid even at the worst part of the war. You know, I once flew as an observer aboard one of their ships on routine patrol. We never saw the enemy, but I could never stop thinking about the glory device it had strapped to the bottom of its hull.
The Yahat.
The Yehat are a race of ancient warrior clans that have been traveling the stars for many centuries. Clans are highly competitive and sometimes even wage war on each other, but the clans are all loyal to the Queen and her royal family, known as the Viepzeeps. The Viepzeeps have been in power for over 2,000 years, and it is said that during their rule, the Yehat never lost a battle.
The Araloo.
I'd like to think I'm not a bigoted person, Captain, especially when it comes to allies, but there's just something about those Araloo that gives me the creeps. One thing I'll say for them, though, they possess some technique for moving really fast through hyperspace. They never let us know what it was, but sure beats the pants off our fastest ships.
The Chenjesu.
The Chenjesu were leaders of the Alliance, even though they refused to accept formally the title. I don't know if their silicon-based biology is just plain superior to our old carbon models, or if their fantastic intellect were the product of an ancient, peaceful culture. Whatever the reason, I'd rather be taking orders from a Chenjesu than any other life form, absolutely. One of the more amazing things about them was they never used hyperwave communicators. They could send messages naturally, and their natural hyperwave receptors were much more sensitive than even our best units.
The Murmur.
We didn't really get much of a chance to learn about those mechanical beings, but I'll tell you what I know. They're the product of a distant, unknown culture who sent a giant factory arc into our region of space many centuries ago. The Mother Arc, that's what the Earth Press called it, churned out millions of robots and finally broke down. I don't know why the Murnaherm didn't repair the Mother Arc. Maybe they can't. My personal guess as to why they were sent here is that they're on the leading edge of a colonization project. And once the Murnaherm have tamed enough new worlds, the genuine colonists, whoever they are, will arrive and claim their due.
Okay. What about the Cyrene?
Most raw recruits saw the Cyrene as nothing more than warm, breathing pinups. Warm they are, and yes, they do breathe most magnificently, but Captain, they are far more than simple joy units. The history shows the Cyrene established and maintained a peaceful culture from their Bronze Age through their discovery of starflight. Before their planet was destroyed in a horrible cataclysm, their world was an Eden.
That's enough about the Alliance for now.
What other group of aliens are you interested in?
Let's talk about the battle thralls in their hierarchy.
Which species?
Let's start maybe with the Mycon.
The Mycons are hard to get a handle on. In fact, I'm not sure any human has ever had a real conversation with a Mycon. What we know of them, we've learned from their corpses, which, I may add, have a nasty habit of coming back to life when thawed out from a decompression quick freeze. Mycon ships seem to expend a significant amount of energy on life support. This is probably because the Mycon only thrive in temperatures close to the melting point of lead. As far as we know, the Mycon are the only race to actively seek out the Ur-Quan in order to become combat slaves.
Okay. What about the Spathy?
Imagine facing a cowardly, mobile clam armed with a howitzer. You've got a good idea of what it's like dealing with a Spathy. Although they tend to avoid battles as much as their masters will allow, once in battle, a Spathy eluder is one tough cookie. I once heard a rumor, though I don't like to believe in it myself, that a rogue band of courageous Spathy broke away from the main Starfleet, painted their ships black with bright red stripes, and formed the Black Spathy Squadron, dedicated to performing brave and hostile deeds. Like I said, I'd have to see it to believe it.
What about the Umga?
It's unfortunate that the Umga fell to the Ur-Quan so early in the war, because I suspect we would have gotten along well with those big blob creatures. At the very least, it would have been entertaining. We know them a bit better than most races because they were eager to talk with our ships before, after, and during battle. The Arilu intimated that they had a relationship with the Umga before the Ur-Quan arrived, but I don't know any details.
Okay. What about the Androsynth?
When I was flying combat missions along the Corward front, there was nothing we feared more than the Androsynth hit-and-run squadron. Their blazer ships were more than a match for our cruisers, so we stayed clear of Eta Vulpeculae, their home star. In addition, I think each of us aboard the ship knew deep down in our hearts that the Androsynth had a damn good reason for hating us. Our grandparents had kept them as slaves for nearly 50 years.
Okay. What about the Ilrath, the ones that we just took on now?
I still have nightmares about those spiders taking me prisoner, using me as one of their 6 sacrifices to Dogar and Kazon, their twin gods of destruction and torment. Those guys were almost as scary as the Androsynth to those of us in Deep Space Patrol. Their Avenger ships could appear out of nowhere and melt a cruiser down to slag in seconds. Luckily for us, the bulk of the Ilrath fleet was thrown against the Chenjesu and the Murnaherm.
Okay, and the Vux.
The Starship Far Voyager under the command of Captain Jeffrey L. Rand encountered the Vux near Beta Mira. Although the details are hazy, it's generally accepted that Rand offended the Vux Starship commander with an inadvertent insult.
Really? Okay.
What other group of aliens are you interested in?
Were there any alien races who weren't in the war?
None that we had made formal contact with. The Chenjesu implied that they had met 2 other star-faring species, one near the Gickless constellation and the other directly corward from Procyon. The Arilu Lalile once mentioned having some fun with an alien race in Draconis, but like so much else with the Arilu, they never revealed the whole story. I'm sure there are hundreds more alien races in our galaxy, but beyond what I've told you, your guess is as good as mine.
Okay. I have sufficient information on this subject.
Would you like information on any other aspect of history?
I'm interested in the war against the hierarchy.
What about the war?
How did the war with the Ur-Quan start?
Earth got involved late in the game in 2112 when the Chenjesu arrived in our solar system for the first time. So let's back up a few years to 2098 when the Chenjesu super-sensitive receivers detected a strange signal from the Ophiuchi constellation. Though even the Chenjesu didn't know it, it was the first sign of the Ur-Quan's arrival. The Ur-Quan, having detected the presence of many sentient species, were beaming out an exulting hunting cry. The first direct evidence of the Ur-Quan's intent was the sudden conquest of the Umga, a solitary though not unfriendly species in the Orionis constellation. Chenjesu, distraught by the invasion, were further angered when the Ur-Quan turned their fleets on the hostile but weak Ilrath race. A hastily assembled defense force of Murnaherm and Chenjesu vessels turned the Ur-Quan fleet aside, but the invader moved into Spathy space, rapidly subjugating that race. With each new conquest, the Ur-Quan fleet grew larger as it added slave vessels to its ranks. Earth joined the Chenjesu to form the Alliance of Free Stars at about the same time as the Androsynth stars fell to the Ur-Quan Armada. Before the ink was dry on our agreement with the Chenjesu in 2116, a new race appeared in orbit around the moon and asked for admittance to the Alliance. It was the Arilu Lalile. Timing seemed unusual, and the Arilu were definitely weird, looking like saucer men from Mars, but we were too busy cranking up our mothballed heavy industry. We really didn't pay it much attention at the time.
What happened during the war?
At the start of the war, here on Earth, we were working like crazy, churning out hundreds of heavy cruisers and smaller support vehicles. The Ur-Quan were busy too. Unbeknownst to us, they had moved down towards the Luton Star Group and were attacking the Vux, who only the Yehat knew existed. Our botched first contact with the Vux took place in 2119, and it was the biggest single mistake we made during the war. After defeating the Vux, the Ur-Quan fleet ran smack into the combined might of the Yehat and Show Fixty, supported by the first wave of our cruisers. Again, the Ur-Quan turned away from the hard spot to attack the weak, though we just thought they were running away. In fact, the Ur-Quan had found another independent alien race, the Mycon, in the Brahe constellation. The Mycon's voluntary submission to the Ur-Quan brought the return of the Ur-Quan fleets, now swollen with 100 devastating Mycon pod ships. The last entrants to the conflict were the Cyrene, a race of space gypsies who had escaped the hierarchy by moving their vast fleet of slow-moving habitats into human space. With the side set, the last Ur-Quan offensive began.
And how did the war end, Commander?
The Ur-Quan came roaring through Vux space and tried to push past the India and Mira star systems. Their onslaught was barely repulsed, and our counterattack made hardly a dent in the hierarchy forces, but we held the line. The Corward front remained intact. Over the following 10 years, there were many great battles between the combined Alliance Starfleet and the Ur-Quan and their hierarchy of battle thralls. Then in 2134, a dramatic shift in the balance of power took place. This must have been about the time the science research mission was sent to the planet of Vela. Our fleets were pushed back from the Indy-Mira line beyond Raynet. Holding Rigel caused grievously in Chenjesu forces, and the Ur-Quan, recognizing this weakness, shifted to focus the brunt of their forces on Procyon. That was the last we heard from the Chenjesu and the Murnaher. A few weeks later, waves of ships hit us from all directions. When Ceres Station, our outpost on the asteroid belt, fell to the hierarchy, we knew we were beaten, but we fought on anyway. 3 days later, the Ur-Quan vaporized our last remaining laser forts on the moon, and the dreadnoughts took up geosynchronous position above Rome, Moscow, Beijing, Tokyo, London, Buenos Aires, and Washington. We'd lost the war, and we knew it. But the Ur-Quan decided to make it real clear. And that's why if you check any of our most recent maps, you won't find Buenos Aires.
What happened after the war?
After the UN submitted their formal surrender, we were given a week to decide the nature of our servitude. The Ur-Quan demanded that the decision be made through popular vote. When all the votes were tallied, Earth had chosen not to fight for the Ur-Quan. We had become a fallow slave world. We were given a month to withdraw all of our people and equipment to Earth. Anyone or anything left off-planet would be destroyed after the shield went up. Then the Ur-Quan broadcast an odd message. All objects of human construction more than 500 years old were to be abandoned. We didn't know what the Ur-Quan meant until they moved their dreadnoughts into new orbital positions and opened fire on the surface with their fusion weapon. In seconds, large sections of London, Paris, and other European cities were incinerated. At first, we thought they were going to annihilate us after all. And we noticed they were also striking such targets as the Giza Pyramids, the Parthenon in Athens, and Stonehenge. Curiously, the United States was almost untouched. The flaming rain lasted 40 hellish hours. It took days after we crawled from our smoldering shelters to realize what the Ur-Quan had done. Our new masters had targeted every building, monument, or other man-made construction older than 500 years and destroyed it. In those 2 days, we lost most of the history of mankind. In some cases, the Ur-Quan destroyed places we did not even suspect were significant. From their positions in orbit, the dreadnoughts blew away a kilometer of land in central Iraq, vaporized several targets in the Amazon rainforest, punched a big hole through the Antarctic ice cap to destroy something deep under the surface, and melted a broad swath of the ocean floor in the southeastern Atlantic. Then, just a couple of days later, the shield went up, and our contact with the outside world stopped. The next time I saw the stars was 8 years ago, when I was transferred up here to be the new commander of this starbase.
Thanks, Commander, for the briefing.
Would you like any information on any other aspect of history?
I need some information on ancient galactic
We
history.
have some data on this subject. What do you want to know about?
What can you tell me about the precursors?
Hell, you probably know more about them than I do, but here goes. About 200,000 years ago, when our great-to-the-nth grandparents were just starting to play with stone knives and bearskins, a star-faring species suddenly appeared on the galactic scene and spread like wildfire. We found evidence of their presence just about everywhere, from an orbital platform on Alpha Centauri to a stack of data plates in a cave on Pluto to some nameless widget found in a voodoo shop in New Orleans. And we never found a precursor body or even a picture of one. We can conjecture what they look like by examining the scale and layout of their equipment. Such an analysis indicates they were giants, say 5 to 8 meters tall and twice as wide. I don't know if they looked more like a brontosaur or an elephant. Anyway, about 3,000 years after the precursors made their dramatic appearance, they vanished. Poof! As far as we can tell, it took less than a decade to happen.
What about other races from the ancient past?
You mean besides the precursors? Well, the only information we have is secondhand based on some research by a Chenzesu historian that I read at the academy. Zed-Sert-Sek, the historian, found some evidence that there was a group of alien races who formed an interstellar empire not too far from here about 22,000 years ago. The only species in this empire who actually lived in our region of space was a race of rock-like creatures who lived in the Vulpeculae constellation. The presence of the hostile androsynth in that part of space severely limited Zed-Sert-Sek's research. He never even found out the race's name.
Is there any indication that aliens visited Earth in the past?
Yes, there is. Aside from the precursor relics we have found on Earth, often in museums mislabeled as modern art, we've discovered disturbing evidence of much more recent visitation. Perhaps you're already aware that during the mid to late 20th century, there were unaccountable UFO sightings as well as dozens of reported encounters with alien life forms. Although we can discount many of the reports as wishful fabrication or traumatic translation, the military authorities of the time kept a secret record of the incidents which were legitimate. In each such case, the aliens are almost identical in appearance. They have white skin and minimal facial features except for huge almond-shaped eyes, which are often described as glowing or luminescent. This description fits almost perfectly the Ur-Lalile. In most of the legitimate encounters, the people involved describe being physically examined or modified by the aliens. In some cases, unusual pregnancies occurred, and in almost every instance, there were repeat visitations as though the Ur-Lalile were doing checkups on their subjects. We never got the chance to confront the Ur-Lalile about what they did to us and why. I wonder if we ever will.
This is fascinating, but I must move on.
Would you like information on any other aspect of history?
No more history for now, thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
I would like your input actually on how we can defeat the Ur-Quan.
Can you be more specific?
Where can I find the most useful, plentiful mineral resources, for example?
If you have the patience, I would recommend you spend several months or even a year gathering mineral resources. You can find such minerals on almost any planet's surface, but the quality and density will vary depending upon the type of planet you're on. Base metals are probably the most common materials you'll find, but they aren't particularly valuable. You can find rarer precious and radioactive elements on metal-rich worlds such as Mercury. An old miner once told me that you could tell the relative quality of a planet's minerals based on the planet's color as seen from space. Remember the color sequence from good to bad? The miner had a mnemonic that went something like, very young orangutan could grow bananas perhaps rather well. It is also the case that mineral yields will be better at hotter stars. Temperature is related to the size and color of a star. Red stars are the coolest, then orange, yellow, green, blue, and the hottest stars are white.
How should I deal with aliens I meet in space?
That all depends on whom you meet, doesn't it, Captain? Well, in all seriousness, if you encounter the Ilrap, Bucks, Androsynth, or other hierarchy battle thralls, I wouldn't hold out much hope for a peaceful encounter. So if you feel you have the advantage, attack. The resources you will scavenge from the enemy's wreckage are well worth the effort. If you can find Alliance races who are in a position to help us, then you must convince them to join with us. Their assistance may be crucial to our success.
Okay, if you were in my shoes, what would you do now?
Let's see. You need to build up and balance the strength of your flagship. I would add thrusters up to, say, 5 or 6. Speed is essential in combat, but it would also pay off over the long haul in hyperspace. And if you prefer to avoid confrontation, nothing beats a great pair of legs. I would add turning jets for increased maneuverability. I would add enough weapons to defend yourself if you're caught without escort ships. You need additional fuel, at least 50 units. Your weapons will be underpowered in combat if you don't have at least 1 dynamo. I guess I'd gather more minerals to build up a good supply of resource units.
How can we deal with the Ur-Quan?
Captain, I wish I had an easy answer, but I don't. The only way I can see of liberating Earth as well as the Alliance allies is to destroy the Ur-Quan and their armada of battle thralls entirely.
Commander, do you have any long-range plans to defeat the Ur-Quan hierarchy?
To defeat our enemies, we will need awesome strength, both in your flagship and the fleet, as well as the assistance of powerful new allies. Though combat will be unavoidable and sometimes necessary to achieve our goal, I'm certain your wits will be at least as important as your weapons. You'll need to explore this region of space, gathering resources and information wherever you go.
How can I find the Ur-Quan?
I don't know, Captain, but I suspect their battle thralls know more than we do, so I suggest you try to gather information from them, perhaps by force.
How can we attack the Ur-Quan most effectively?
At first, your ship will be far too vulnerable to permit frontal assaults on the Ur-Quan. Even when your ship is at full power, we're faced with the reality that the hierarchy has thousands of ships. You cannot win the fight alone, Captain. You need allies. Also, towards the end of the war, when the hierarchy broke through the Corward front, we heard rumors that the Ur-Quan had unleashed some kind of super weapon which was unstoppable by normal means. You need to find out if that rumor was true, Captain, because if the Ur-Quan do have such a weapon, we'll have to find some way to stop it, or all our efforts are for naught.
How can I make alliances, and with whom?
If you encounter an unknown alien race, proceed carefully and diplomatically. We need all the friends we can get, and we certainly can't afford any more enemies. Remember, Captain, with your precursor starship, you hold awesome power. But there will be situations when dealing with an alien race where a carrot will serve better than a stick. But first, you must determine what carrot the alien wants.
What is the fastest way for us to build up our strength?
You need to accumulate enough resources so we can build up your flagship and assemble a strong fleet. I'd also recommend that you acquire blueprints for other, more powerful ships than our trusty cruiser. I suspect that aliens will not give you such prints unless you form an alliance with them.
Let us move on to another topic.
What else can we discuss? What
Okay.
else can I tell you?
I do not require additional information.
Fine. Is there anything else you need?
Okay, goodbye, Commander. I'm on my way.
We shall await your return, Captain.
Okay, so there was a lot of information that I got from there, and I have some leads that I can do. But I think before we start with these leads, we need to outfit my ship and collect resources. The first thing that I think we're going to do is we're going to collect resources from the solar system. But first, let us outfit my starship. So let's see what we have over here. So you can see that my starship is built like a compartment, and you can add certain things to it. Now, my biggest suggestion, first of all, is to add some fuel. So, okay, oopsie. There we go. Let's add as much fuel as we can. Okay. Then modules. Biggest thing that I think we need is speed. Okay. Yes. Crew pod. Storage bay, definitely important. I think for now I'm going to take my iron bolt gun. I'm going to take it off and I'm going to add... The thing is, I need speed. Speed kills in this game. Okay. And I think most of my resources will go into that. And then we will then proceed to go around. I think what I need to do as well... I'm going to need more cruisers. But... I think we have everything that we need now. Exit menu. Shipyard. Okay, so... we can build... ships and crew, their salary or employing them will be about 3 resource units. Okay, so we'll keep that earthing cruiser with me just in case. Okay, so let's depart the starbase and look around. I think what I'm going to do first, I'm going to leave Venus for last, and I'll show you why. Okay, as you can see, my ship is already super fast, but it is damn hard to move it around. Okay, so we're going to go back, as we said, for the resources that we found over here. Let's do another scan so you can see what we're talking about. So there's some nice resources, a lot, but we need to be careful that we don't get our asses handed to us. So let's try and be as careful as possible without losing our planet lander. Oh, see? Oh. Okay, nothing to kill over here, so remember that our... Whoa. Oh, see? Now, if you see my planet lander... Oh, better get up over here. We must be very careful that we don't lose our planet lander, because if we do, we're in trouble. Oh. Okay, and then we must make sure. Okay. Let's do it again. Let's not... Ooh. No! Okay. That didn't help. Okay, so we're gonna have to go back. And... get a new ship. Get a new lander. Not cool. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where are we? See what I mean, guys? Okay. Okay, so we're going to be doing some, resource collecting. Oh, my ship turns like a, as you can see, I am moving, but it is like so difficult to, don't judge me, guys. No, what the hell? Okay, let's try it again. Okay, there we go. Whoa. Okay. Outfit my starship. First things first. Okay, let's... Damn.
Hello, Captain.
Okay, minerals, offload.
Light load this time, Captain.
Yeah.
Be careful out there, Captain.
Will do. So the first thing I must do is I must add cruiser. Okay, so module. Okay, and then I must add some people to my crew. Okay. So I suggest exit menu. Alright, so let's depart the starbase. I'm going to save quickly. It won't be the end for us. Because if I do lose out on another lander, then I will not be a happy chappy. Okay, so after this, you see, I tell you. Okay. I'll show you what Venus looks like, okay? Let's see. Let's scan. Mineral scan. See, there's still some minerals over here. Okay. So we're going to give it another try. And be very careful. Whoa. Okay. I think we just have to be careful. Okay, still more that we can do. Dispatch. If I can just get to these ones. Look, they're not very good minerals, but I need everything that I can at the moment. Because I'll tell you why. If we don't, we're going to be stuck. Okay. Okay, good. We didn't lose anybody. Okay, and then we're going to navigate. So I'm going to give you an idea of what Venus looks like. And we might need to come back later or risk it. So if we go to Venus, even though it looks like it's possible. Now, let's scan Venus. Now, if you take a look at Venus, information that will help you is on the left-hand side. Now, we know that from our school lessons that Venus is actually more uninhabitable than Mercury, even though it's the second planet from the Sun. So, atmosphere, there's an atmosphere. The temperature, though, is 457 degrees Celsius, which means that those flames that we saw on Mercury, there's going to be even more. And then weather class 8, which means it's just going to be thunder and lightning all the time. Now, my lander is not going to be able to handle that. But let me show you what the minerals are like. So even with that, the minerals are not worth it. Okay, so we're not going to go there. We're not going to try it. We're going to go to Mars next. Okay, and like I said, we want to make sure the next thing that we need to put on our ship is some turning thrusters. Otherwise, it's going to be crazy. Okay, now this over here you can see is a lot more conducive to being okay. We won't get any earthquakes or like tectonics or weather because it's class 2 and it's in purple, which means it's okay. Temperature is also negative 50 degrees Celsius, so we're going to be fine. Or as fine as we can be. Class 2, definitely good. Class 1, even better. We might find that we will be stuck with maybe, I don't know. We might get a bit of a problem, but that's fine. Okay, no, we don't have to worry about going up. It does cost units to do that, so okay. Maybe I should have just done that. Okay, so we're going to dispatch again. Like I said, we need all the resources that we can find. Preferably, we're looking for yellow, orange, and purple. Okay, so we have pillaged Mars. Our next one would probably be Jupiter. There should be 1 or 2 moons on Jupiter that we can go to. So let's see if we can find it. Jupiter. Oh, okay. Jupiter is the next. There we go. Come this way. There we go. Alright, so you can see that even the planet's orbit. Okay, let's start with the closest one. Okay, scan. Okay, now tectonics class 4, we need to be very careful. But look at the resources that we get. Okay, now I'm going to save again because I don't like my chances. Okay, so let's game save. Don't worry guys, we're not ending yet. Okay, dispatch. Okay, see, we're fine. We are fine at the moment. Okay, maybe not as fine. Okay. Dispatch again. As long as we don't lose our cruiser, I'm happy. Whoa, okay. Okay. Whoa. Okay. We'll come back. You know what? No. So we don't make a blups of this one. Ooh. And you can also see from the start of it. See? If we see like almost like a white dot appear, then we know that we're in trouble. So okay, we got all that we needed. Well done. That is actually super. Right. Next one is second. But you know, now this is going to happen. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, let's check this one. Europa. Looks like it's a little bit easier. Okay, there are red and orange. That is good. There's some orange and that will help us nicely, but we're going to get everything. We don't discriminate at the moment. Once we have the ability to go on more challenging planets, then we can discriminate. There we go. All right. Good. These orange ones are the second rarest of its kind, and usually you find these on your more hostile planets. Another thing that we should look at is the orbit, because the color of the orbit also assists us with knowing if we're going to be okay. So the ones that we have has a blue orbit, then we have a green orbit as well. Anyway, navigate. Our next one is going to be this greenish planet. Scan. Okay. I'm not expecting really great resources, but we're still going to go for it, I think. Like I said, we ain't discriminating. Okay, good. Let's dispatch again. We might need to go back and offload our resources, which is fine. We don't mind. We are enjoying the game as it's been, and I hope you're enjoying it, guys. I know sometimes resource collecting isn't as cool. Okay, we can actually leave that where it is. But it's all going to be worth it. I can promise you, things are going to look better. Okay, I definitely need some turning thrusters. Okay, scan, Callisto, auto scan. Okay, minerals, nothing. That's strange. So we don't have anything. So exit. I'm sure we haven't been here, so... Okay, next one is probably going to be Saturn, and I know that Saturn has a few... There we go. Oh, no, it's only one. That is definitely anticlimactic. You're kidding me. Okay, we missed that one, so... Alright. Scan. Okay, class 3 weather, so we might get stuck with a few things, but we have some good minerals. So I think we're going to save over here again. And then we're going to scan and dispatch. And let's be careful. See what I mean? So we need to be careful that our... Of course. Oh, we've run out of area. Okay, so... Exit. Okay, so guys, we know that we have to come back to this one. So let's move around and go back to Earth. And I think we're going to use basically all of my resources for this one to put some turn and burn on our... Because this is really, really irritating. Okay, so first of all, Commander...
Welcome back, Captain. Before we proceed, I wanted you to know our deep space monitoring team has detected faint alien signals coming from Uranus or somewhere in that general direction.
Oh, excuse me.
The emanations are definitely being generated from within the solar system and could represent the presence of a hierarchy spy.
Okay. Alright. Minerals. Yeah.
Not a bad job, Captain.
Very good.
Blow up an Ur-Quan for me, Captain.
Will do. Okay. So that's good resource units. I'm going to now outfit my starship with more of these. Now you're going to see a huge difference in my turns. Look at this. Isn't that so cool? So now I'm not going to get as frustrated, and it's very important. I think one of the biggest thing that one needs to remember in this game: speed kills. You want the speed. You need the speed. You need the need for speed. Okay. That really sucks. Sorry, guys. Okay, scan. We're going to do an auto scan again. Okay. And we've done that one. So dispatch. Get some more stuff going on. Yeah. Yeah. Now we need to make sure. Oh, you see. That was not very good. So we remember that whenever our lander gets struck, we lose crewmen. So we have to be careful. Okay, good. All right. Navigate. One planet which it revolves around a gas giant. Okay, what do we have over here? Triton. Okay, auto scan. Alright, not much, but we can definitely use this. Like I said, guys, we cannot afford to discriminate. We need all the resources that we can. our first episode is going to be a little bit longer than usual. Almost think of it as a special, because I want you guys to get immersed in this, in the lore behind this. Okay, navigate. Okay, next is to go to... This is Neptune, so we're going to Uranus now. Not Uranus. I don't see it. Okay. I guess Uranus is this one over here. Oh, so it is more up to date, which is nice. Pluto. Okay. Maybe Uranus was blown out of the sky. Anyway, alright, so here we go. We're going to be scanning any minerals. Ooh, okay, we have our first purple mineral, so we're going to go for that first. That is incredible, and you'll understand why, because it's 25 times. So if it is 5, it's 5 times 25. Okay, so let's see what we found over here. Ooh, this looks like a ship, so let's be careful. Oh hell. Mayday from surface. We have come under fire from an alien vessel we found hiding in the surface of Pluto. Captain, they killed Kowalski, Fritz, Chin, O'Donnell, Luigi, and all 3 of the Lieberman triplets. We have returned fire, but our stunner can't penetrate the ship's hull armor. We are initiating emergency launch procedures. End of transmission. Damn it.
Attention, a big, mean, hostile alien vessel hovering overhead in an obvious attack posture. This is Spotty Captain Whistle. I know you are going to torture me, so let's just get this over with right now. The coordinates of my homeworld, Spottywa, are 241.6 by 368.7, and the ultra-secret Spotty Cipher, which is known only by me and several billion other
Cipher,
Spotty,
okay.
is Huffy Muffy Duffy. Sorry about that little mistake with your landing vehicle. I was so startled when it approached my vessel in a threatening manner that my automated defense systems fired on it when it got too close. I hope nobody got hurt.
Okay, so we didn't get all of that. We're going to have to see if we can get information on where his homeworld is. We got the first part. Which is not going to help us. Okay, attention alien vessel. Identify yourself or be destroyed.
Of course. As I said, I am Captain Soto of the Spotty Warship Star Runner. Our sensors have tracked your entry into the system, which you are no doubt here to conquer. And while you are certainly welcome to do so, we would be greatly appreciative if you would please just go away and forget this star system ever existed. If you don't go, it will greatly complicate our master-slave relationship with the Ur-Quan, who stationed us here to watch over the Earthlings.
We understand that sometimes these tragic misunderstandings happen. We grieve but are not bitter.
Phew, thanks. For a minute there, I thought you were going to kill me.
What are you doing here on Pluto?
About 20 years ago, this region of space was dominated by a loose confederation known as the Alliance of Free Stars, which was composed of the aliens native to these parts who did not want to be enslaved. They made a valiant effort against the superior Ur-Quan forces. It even looked like they might miraculously defeat the combined Ur-Quan armada, right up to the point at which the Ur-Quan totally defeated, indeed annihilated them.
So what are you doing here on Pluto?
When the Ur-Quan armada entered the system to subjugate formerly the Earthlings, the Ur-Quan presented the humans humans with the standard slave options. Join the hierarchy as combat roles and retain some autonomy, including the right to travel through space, or become a fellow species and return to free atomic savagery on the surface of their homeworld, encased for all time beneath an impenetrable force shield. The humans chose the latter option, and so were swiftly imprisoned on the surface of Earth. But the Ur-Quan didn't trust them to obey the restrictions, so they chose a small group of heavy combat starships from the Inlet and Spotted to create the so-called Earth Guard and station them at a base on Earth's moon.
Tell me what you are doing on Pluto now!
Originally, we were stationed on Earth's moon, which made us study a bit uneasy because with each passing day we grew more and more worried about the sneaky Earthlings making a surprise attack. So the Inlet kept telling us that it was impossible since the Earthlings had no ships or weapons whatsoever. That made us feel a bit better, but when the Inlet left, again we grew fearful and decided to make a strategic redeployment to Mars. Later on we decided it would be prudent to relocate to Jupiter's moon, Ganymede, then later Saturn's moon, Titan, and finally here to Pluto.
What happened to the Ilrath stationed in the system?
The Ur-Quan contingent were supposed to be the toughest ridge crest, the most rigid flipper, yes, the backbone of the Earth Guard force. But they departed the system en masse not long after the last Ur-Quan dreadnought vanished from this region of space. They claimed to have received a direct order from their gods of evil and darkness, who had grown dissatisfied with the Ur-Quan's passivity and wanted them to kill, or at least torture someone soon. Personally, I believe they just got bored and went off to have some fun.
When do you expect the Ilrath to return?
Well, when they were pushing up into hyperspace 18 years ago, we asked them that very question, and I think they said something to the effect of, "Real soon."
What is happening at the base on Luna then?
We decided that if the Earthlings figured out we had abandoned the base on Luna, they would be more likely to try something sneaky. So, we rigged up some old service androids and ordered them to drive around on the lunar surface in bulldozers, endlessly pushing around the same piles of dirt. In addition, we connected the base's local radio transmitter to an audio Melnorme fun rum called Winky's Happy Night, hoping they would think we were still there.
What happened to the other Spassy ships?
Over the past years, it became necessary to redeploy strategically some of our Earth-Guard forces to our homeworld in case of a sudden surprise attack by a vicious, unrelenting alien race which we Spotty call the Ultimate Evil.
How many crew do you have on board?
That is to say, scores and perhaps even hundreds of my brethren stride through the corridors of this specially modified, super efficient, mass destruction-oriented starship, which could lay siege to an entire planetary system should we choose to do so, which, fortunately for you, we have decided not to do today.
Hundreds? Come on!
I am undone. You are far too clever for a poor spotty like me, and now I must submit to your superior alien intellect. I guess I am not revealing any truly important secrets if I tell you that each of my species' lunar-class void ships typically holds 30 spotty crewmen, though at present my vessel, the Star Runner, is not up to full complement due to the needs of my homeworld in their resistance against the Ultimate Evil. And in fact, my vessel is somewhat understaffed right now, seeing as how I am the only spotter on board, which is a bit frightening, as I am sure you can understand.
The galaxy teems with threatening monsters. Are you happy here, alone and vulnerable?
How true, Captain, how true! In truth, just between us, during the past 7 years, I have been quite ill at ease, and yet now I find myself enjoying your company. This witty dialogue, and the presence of your huge, powerful, death-dealing starship, which, being my friend, you would certainly feel compelled to use in order to save me from any hostile life forms who threatened me with death.
Who or what is this ultimate evil?
As yet, the ultimate evil remains largely unmanifest, and its powers and exact intentions are still a bit obscure, since it lurks just outside the range of even the most sensitive long-range detectors, which we feel gives conclusive evidence as to the ultimate evil's nefarious intent.
Why are you still here, Captain Fuifo?
Since it was our most powerful and unforgiving master, the Ur-Quan, who stationed us here, we knew it would be grossly stupid to disobey them completely, but we decided it would be okay to send just one ship home. We used one of our most ancient and solemn rituals, Ur-Quan, to pick the lucky ship. Then, some months later, we decided that it wouldn't really hurt if we sent one more ship home. And then later we sent another, and then another. Well, you get the idea. Alas, as fate would have it, when the final ritual was performed, I, Russo, was left here alone. For as even the most immature in wrestling knows, there must always be one spotter who puts the short top runs.
I agree. Where are the Ur-Quan now?
Our masters don't really keep us very well informed about their goings-on, so that all we know is that immediately after the subjugation of the last Alliance race, the Hut, I think, the Ur-Quan gathered their dreadnoughts and departed for the edge of the galaxy, commanding us to obey the slave laws or face their wrath when they returned.
Do you know anything about other alien races?
We only know bits and pieces of what happened to each race. For instance, when defeated, the Hut joined the hierarchy as combat roles, while the Siren chose to be slave-shielded on a planet in the Bug-Squirt star system. No, that's not right. I forget its name. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, the Shafixti. They were utterly wiped out in a gigantic blaze of glory.
What do you mean, blaze of glory? What happened to the Shafixti?
The Shafixti were half sterile, as you know, having been uplifted by the Hut just a few decades before the start of the war. Given their habit of detonating those suicidal so-called glory devices in combat, it came as no particular surprise to me when, upon the arrival of the Ur-Quan Primary Task Force at their homeworld, the Shafixti caused their sun to explode in a colossal supernova, destroying the entire planetary system, and not incidentally, dozens of Ur-Quan dreadnoughts.
What about yourself, Fuifo?
Me? You mean me, personally? Well, nice of you to ask. I was born a poor green incasting, the youngest child of a family of 18,487. My male parent had to work hard to support us, very hard. But each of my brothers and sisters and I tried to help out to make ends meet. The female parent was kind and sweet to all of us. Why, she once even called me by name. She said, what a treat, a golden memory. I swiftly matured into a fine example of my species with my parents' assistance. Achieved independence. Specifically, they pried me from the door jam and rolled me into the street. Thus prepared, I set out to make my fortune. I had great dreams in those days. Yes, great dreams. I knew that someday I would be vastly rich, wealthy enough to afford a large, well-fortified mansion. Surrounding my mansion would be vast tracts of land, through which I could slide at any time I wished. Of course, one can never be too sure that there aren't monsters hiding just behind the next bush, so I would plant trees to climb at regular, easy-to-reach intervals. And being a spotty of the world, I would know that some monsters climb trees, though often not well, so I would have my servants place in each tree a basket of perfect stones. Not too heavy, not too light, just the right size for throwing at monsters. I was thinking about what color the stones would be painted, aqua, mauve, or magenta, when a vegetable cart came careening down the street outside my house and knocked me unconscious. When I awoke, I was aboard the void ship Star Runner, headed for Earth. Apparently, I had been out of my head for quite some time after the accident, and with the assistance of some kind strangers, had been relieved of my funds and convinced to join the Navy, where I have been unpleasantly employed for the last 25 years.
I'm sure you'd feel a lot safer if you're with us. Come on, FIFO, join our fleet.
Happy days and jubilation! I discard all prejudice and hesitation and accept and celebrate your offer of protection and your undying commitment to my well-being. I must wax melancholy for just a moment though, and make sure you understand that any other spaceships we meet at large in the galaxy are not going to be quite so responsive to your friendly gestures as myself, since they bear more heavily the yoke of Ur-Quan enslavement and are also apt to talk themselves out of allying with a totally unknown alien, which I, having been left here alone, cannot do. Welcome me aboard, Captain.
There we go. Alright, so we have another ship, which I'm probably going to disassemble. Okay, first I think we must go back to the station, see what we can actually do. Maybe we can outfit our ship with some turning jets, like completely now. There we go. And we can see how much resource units we can get for that ship. Okay, Star Base Commander.
Captain, I'm glad you made it back in one piece.
Thank you. Here's some minerals.
Another small load, Captain. Well,
Yeah.
I suppose something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Try to avoid getting gruesomely killed, Captain.
I'll try and do that. Okay, FIFO. Just see how much. Ooh. Okay, I'm scrapping you. Don't worry, FIFO, you can join our actual group inside. You can help me out. I tell you, that will probably be a bit better. Like I said, you'll probably help me out a bit more as part of my group. Okay, so I'm going to get one more cruiser. Okay, there we go. We're almost. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to fill this up. And then what I'm going to do is fuel. Okay, it's not completely full, but I'm liking this. Okay, so at this moment, our ship can move around and it's quite quick. That's very important because I don't know who I'm going to be fighting or trying to get away from. Okay. So the first few steps are going to be very, very important for me to do. Okay. Alright, so we're going to depart the starbase, and in our next episode, we're going to leave our solar system and see what else is out there. So until next time, guys, take care of yourselves and each other.